This is the North Carolina Fusion Podcast.
Brought to you by Wake Forest Baptist Health. Thank you for joining us on the North Carolina Fusion Podcast. My name is Scott Wollaston, and I serve as the Executive Director for the North Carolina Fusion. Today I will be speaking with Lyndsey Boswell, head of the North Carolina Fusion Girls Lacrosse Program. Lyndsey also serves as the head coach of the High Point University women's lacrosse team and does an incredible job wearing many hats, which we'll get the chance to discuss. I hope you enjoy our time with Lyndsey Boswell. All right, welcome everybody to the North Carolina Fusion Podcast. Today I have Lyndsey Boswell joining me. Lyndsey serves as the head of our girls lacrosse program, while at the same time she's the head coach of High Point University women's lacrosse team, as well as a full-time mom, as well as a full-time wife. Yes. So Lyndsey, welcome to the podcast, and thank you for taking some time and rushing over here to meet with me today.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So let's start just to give everybody an opportunity to get to know you. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, family, coaching, playing, all of that?
Yep. So I grew up in just south of Annapolis, Maryland, a family of 6. So I'm number 5 of 6 kids. I played lacrosse pretty much my whole life. Went to Pfeiffer University, became the first All-American lacrosse player there. So I had some good success as a player. Stayed there for 2 years to start my coaching career. I was an assistant there for 2 years. At the ripe old age of 23, I became a head coach at a conference rival, St. Andrews College in Larnberg, North Carolina. Okay. Was there for 3 years, and then at the age of 26, started the program at High Point University. So I've been there for going into my 11th year. We just, without COVID, would have finished our 10th season. And here I am. Yes, I am married. I have a 9-month-old baby. I love being the director here at Fusion, and I'm a head coach of a Division I program. So I wear a lot of hats, and I love all of them.
And you're super on top of stuff, so.
And I'm type A and organized, and I think I have OCD, but yes.
That's good. All good qualities.
All of it.
Excellent. So, obviously at Fusion was only a soccer club, and we've slowly evolved into other sports, lacrosse, field hockey, and others. So talk to folks about the sport of lacrosse. Why do you love it so much? What is so great about that sport?
Yeah. And, growing up, I played soccer. I started with soccer and basketball. I thought I would be a basketball player in the WNBA, but later found out I wasn't tall enough and was a way better lacrosse player. So my passion from basketball has carried into lacrosse. Lacrosse is a very fast-paced, I think it's a mix of soccer and basketball, really. It's a field sport, so you have that. But it's a really high-scoring game and can be a very high-scoring game, kind of similar to basketball. So the movements are the same, I would say, defensively, offensively. It's very fast-paced type of play, exciting to watch. And if you don't know it, I think definitely exciting to watch. Really different than the men's lacrosse game.
Yeah, talk about the differences, because I think people don't know that they're almost, in a lot of ways, very different games. Very different games.
I think you can throw soccer in the mix with each other. You can play boys and girls together. You can play basketball, boys and girls together at younger ages anyway.
Sure. Same rules.
The rules are similar, or the same, So our rules are very different. You can look at a girls lacrosse player and a boys lacrosse player and see really different equipment.
So what would be
really
those
different
differences?
Tools? Yeah. So defenders in the men's game use a really long stick. The girls stick across the board and all the way from defense to offense, same size stick, same type of. We all use the same type of equipment.
And it's a different mesh, correct? Like the boys
different
has
pocket.
Yeah.
So the boys use an extremely deep pocket with their stick. Yeah. And that's because of the physicality of their play. So they're more along the lines of hockey and football with the contact. Yeah. We're more along the lines of soccer. I mean, I think girls soccer has some contact, right? Some body contact and body checking, if you will. Yeah. I don't know the terms, but that's what we would call it in girls lacrosse. So the body-to-body contact is definitely there for girls lacrosse. but we don't have quite as much stick-to-body contact, which
Okay.
is why we don't use helmets. We don't need pads all over.
Right.
We wear a mouthpiece. We wear goggles to protect not just our eyeballs, but the structure in our face.
Okay.
So that's actually why we use the goggles, is
Okay.
for like our cheekbones, our
And that's so if like a
our
ball.
nose. Just in case a random
That's-
ball at practice hits you in the face when you're not wearing goggles.
May or may not have happened to you.
Definitely happened to me indoors 6
Brutal.
weeks before my wedding.
Terrible.
Right here with Fusion.
Yep. Sorry about that.
You know, so I should probably be wearing a helmet at practice, but our girls don't. So, yeah, that's about the extent of our equipment.
Okay. Awesome.
And it's pretty cool to see the differences in the boys and the girls.
Yeah.
Um,
And even
so-
the field is laid out differently.
Yeah, longer field, more field players. So we play with 12. We play
Okay.
with 11 field and 1 goalie.
Okay.
With the boys, they play with 10.
Okay.
So 9 field and 1 goalie. So we play on more of a soccer size field
Yeah.
than a men's lacrosse or boys lacrosse size field.
And I heard somewhere about that there could possibly be no out of bounds.
That used to be the case
Okay.
back when I played.
Okay. So like if you were just on a wide open field and a ball just went flying
Yes.
out into the parking lot with like
Yes.
just play on.
Yeah, that's right. No, there was soft boundaries.
Okay.
Is what we called them.
So just not lines.
Right.
Got it.
So
Okay.
soft boundaries and yeah,
That's so interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
it's come a long way.
Okay. Fair
We've
enough.
evolved since I was in college, which
Yeah.
wasn't that long ago,
Well,
of course.
Well, let's talk about kind of the evolution of women's lacrosse and even where it is today as far as the youth game, the collegiate game, and any pro opportunities internationally even. Like, what does that look like so our membership kind of understands the pathway or the opportunities or the lack of opportunities?
Yeah, coming from Maryland, it would be, whether you're 4 or 5 years old carrying your soccer ball or basketball, it's the same thing with lacrosse. You see 5-year-olds dragging their lacrosse stick all around the fields, which is pretty different than down here. We're in a non-traditional lacrosse area. Still, so much growth is happening and so much room for growth. I mean, that's one of my goals and why I'm here, is to give opportunities to everybody at no matter what age they are. But going back to that, yeah, so around here in North Carolina, we start with rec. Then we go to something along the lines of what we have created here with Fusion. So there's a club opportunity, there's high school opportunities. We're still missing the middle school opportunity outside of club.
Okay.
So we don't have middle schools with
lacrosse.
with competitive lacrosse like other sports. So that's something that I think is extremely important to get going. But as it stands right now, you would either play or play high school and club lacrosse. And then Division 1, 2, and 3, NAIA, lots of college opportunities. That's growing and is rapidly growing right now. And then we do have professional lacrosse for girls lacrosse right now. It's very small, but we do have a pro league. One of our Fusion coaches, Kelly McQuilkin, she's our associate head coach at High Point. She plays in the WPLL, and so there are a few opportunities there.
And where would those teams be? Are they based out of a city or?
Kelly plays for the Baltimore Brave.
Okay.
There's a team out of New England. There's a team in Philadelphia and Long Island.
Okay.
So
that northeast
the
corridor.
northeast area. That's the hot spot for women's lacrosse and girls lacrosse, of course. So we're trying to pull some of that down here, trying to get it more in the rec programs and even below, younger. I don't know when rec starts. Yeah, I think 3rd grade.
Okay.
So I think we need to start it when they're 5 and 6 years old. We have a few stragglers right now that we're trying to help with, but otherwise not a whole lot of opportunity that young.
What does the international game look like? Is it big in other countries or certain countries that are powerhouses? Or
Yeah, so I would say the U.S. definitely, in the last World Cup, the U.S. won. Canada is strong. England is strong. Australia is extremely strong. There are a lot of college players that are playing from both Canada and Australia here in the U.S. that do really well. Those are about, Ireland has a team. There are a lot of teams in other countries right now. The Czech Republic has a pretty strong team, but right now they're still also strengthening. So it's just nationally, it's a very, very much still a growing sport.
What are the opportunities for people to watch women's lacrosse? As you know, we've seen it in soccer, that when I was growing up, it was very hard to find a soccer game on TV, and now it's almost always you could find something.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've ever seen a women's lacrosse game on TV. Are they nationally televised? What are the opportunities to ever see that?
You know, most of the games, there are opportunities, a lot more now just in the last 3 years. The IWLCA, which is our Women's Lacrosse Coaches Association, does a great job of trying to get our game out and get it on TV. The Final Four is on TV, always on ESPN. You can find that there. There are a lot of ESPN Plus games, so streamed games, but not necessarily, like soccer.
Sure.
But I think it's where soccer was, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I feel like there's a gap for sure, but we're closing the gap pretty rapidly with all the growth.
It certainly would help people's awareness of the sport and wanting to participate, because it's just not the norm, right? Especially, like you say, here in North Carolina, not really the norm.
Yeah.
What talk about the biggest challenges with girls or women's lacrosse, and maybe even the biggest opportunities?
One of the challenges, I think being in a non-traditional area presents a lot of challenges because, like you said, people just don't know.
Yeah.
And they don't know what they don't know. So trying to build this program and from the ground up really with Fusion is development of players, trying to get the information out there, and then once they're here, getting them addicted to the sport, which I feel pretty confident we're able to do once they pick up a stick. It's a fun sport. And then, just once we get outside of this region competing, because we're competing with newer players competitively, it's not always that much fun.
Sure.
Because if you're one that is very focused on the scoreboard, you might get disappointed pretty often.
Sure.
Now, I will say that over the past few years, we've been able to send some girls to college on scholarships. We're working right now with some pretty respected Division I, II, and III universities to get our kids out there. So it's been a very select few, but I definitely think that's the direction we're headed in. So we're excited about the challenges
So those are also opportunities.
Definitely opportunities. So many opportunities for scholarships.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. I think when you look at the boys' game, there's an overflow of boys looking to play at a select few schools. And with Title IX, the women's game has spread a little bit further than the boys' game, but we have less players.
Got it.
Which means, again, a challenge and an opportunity,
Sure, right.
which means there are opportunities for scholarship right now for so many more girls than even boys. So we're going to use that to our advantage.
And you kind of talked about, a desire to get a stick in the hands of kids a lot younger. But would you say that players that maybe the kids that participate in another sport right now and they're entering high school, do they still have an opportunity? Could a rising ninth grader start women's lacrosse at that point in time and potentially get a scholarship, or are they too far behind? And just in perspective, based on what you've just said, I'd love to hear your opinion on that.
Absolutely, there are opportunities. It depends, I think with lacrosse, like I said, fast-paced sport. So you have to have some speed and you have to have some natural athletic ability.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have that if you're going to play a college sport,
Sure.
regardless.
Yes.
So we start there. And if you have, above average skills or natural talents or abilities, then we can take that and teach. I mean, I can speak on one of our High Point. She graduated last year. She started playing in Apex, North Carolina. Again, a growing area. She ended up being our best defender, team captain. She's now in nursing school at UVA playing her 5th year because of her 4th season, but in an extra year because of the coronavirus. Yeah. And she's going to be one of their rock stars in the ACC.
That's awesome.
So because she brought speed, she brought some hard work and grit and the ability to really mentally challenge herself. I mean, I think the opportunities are endless.
That's awesome. Because I think that, one of the reasons that Fusion got involved in other sports was to give kids the opportunity, because a lot of people get on a certain pathway with a sport, get really into it, but then just either start to get burnt out or just not enjoying it as much. And I think that the kids are hesitant to join another sport at that time because they feel like they're that far behind. But sounds like from what you've said, there's a great opportunity, even if it's not for a college scholarship.
Absolutely.
But rather being really contributing and learning quickly and having the opportunity. It's not too late. So if we have girls right now that are playing competitive level soccer or in a recreation program that are middle school, high school, if you're willing to give it a try, you can learn it pretty fast.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of our high school girls, we've grown, our numbers have almost doubled from this time last year.
Wow.
And some of our girls in high school have just decided to pick it up because their friends play. And so we've created levels of different teams where they're not just trying to make a college team.
Sure.
They may be trying to make their high school team.
Sure.
So we want to also contribute to the success there. So we have a widespread and a wide variety of teams, which I think provides opportunities for the beginner or the advanced player.
Yeah, that's awesome. So talk about, you and I've had a lot of conversation about staff and about how important it is to have a great team working with you, working for you. So talk about both, because it's a little bit intermingled at times, but talk about both your Fusion staff as well as your High Point staff.
Yeah, I mean, I've been so blessed to have really amazing people around me. I have very high standards with who we keep, both in the club and at the university, because first and foremost, these girls, these young women, my coaching staff has their hands on our future. So when you talk about, showing character and showing how to work hard and being the example of what we're asking these girls to do, I want the best. And we've been blessed to have the best. So yeah, my staff is, we all are everywhere. They wear a lot of hats too. They don't have babies yet, but we're working on that. So Kelly is, our associate head coach. She also runs the middle school program here. She is so loved by everybody. And then I mentioned she also plays for the Baltimore Brave. And then Darla played for me at High Point for 4 years. She's been with Fusion now going in her 2nd year. She's also, she's like a developer, so she develops all their skills. She's a fundamentalist. That's what she does. She does all the fundamentals for us. We brought together, when we started Fusion, we brought together 2 club teams that were pre-existing. So we have Becky Hayslip. She's currently the Guilford College assistant coach. She's got the same amount of experience as I do. So she's been in the game and in this area for quite some time. She's very valuable to our staff as well. The girls love her. She teaches the goalies, and she also teaches the high schoolers that require some pretty detailed development as well. And then Lauren DePorto, she was an All-American at Lenore Rhine. She's not on my High Point staff, but she might be one day, I don't know. Awesome. And she's similar, just hardworking, type A mentality. She's ready to get it done. She's so helpful growing the game. She does a lot with the rec programs. And then we use some of our Guilford and High Point lacrosse players. And that's really valuable too, because when you have a little girl that's starting to play and they see these college players, it's like that's their end goal. So they tend to listen to those girls, I mean, almost more than anybody.
That's awesome.
Because they look up to them like almost like they're celebrities. Yeah, for
that's
sure.
Really good.
So.
As far as the difference between working with these college athletes to the youth players, what do you find are the biggest differences but yet similarities?
Oh my gosh, this is my favorite thing to talk about because differences, their age, naturally, right? Their maturity level, their skill levels. We run college level practices that look very different out here on the turf than they do at our turf at High Point, but we hold them to the same standards and we teach the same exact concepts. So, and then what are they, when I look at a girl that plays lacrosse, I see someone that I want to instill confidence in, someone that I want to feel beautiful as an athlete and a young woman, somebody that I want to take with this sport and kind of guide them down a path to make them feel like they can do anything and empower them as young women. So I don't care if they're 5 years old or 23 years old ready to go into grad school. Like my passion is lacrosse and using lacrosse as a vehicle to make young women feel like they can accomplish anything. That's awesome. So it doesn't really matter how old they are. I kind of and
you enjoy both.
And I'm competitive, so I want all of them to be successful. So I don't treat them differently when it comes time to like showing up on time and expecting hard work, whatever it looks like.
Sure.
So
that's awesome. It's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
You shared with me some of during the difficult time of COVID, which still continues to be difficult in the college world, but in terms of our Fusion program, talk about the things that you did for players. You and Darla did some things for players. Talk about that because I thought that was really awesome.
Oh yeah, so Darla came over. We did like some workout ideas in my backyard and just gave them some ways that they could get better on their own, even if they were stuck in their house and just
film those and
tried to get them out to our membership. We filmed them some different workouts, some different stick work opportunities, mostly just to develop their game if they were stuck at home or in their backyard with very few resources, just mainly a stick and a ball. So that's that. We've done a lot of that, and then we also provided some like training opportunities. So if they wanted to work out for 2 full weeks, we gave like a Zoom opportunity, and we did those in our backyard too. That's awesome. So we set up a lot of different opportunities just to try to get either more players in or girls that were playing with keeping their stick in their hand.
That's great. I mean, had to be super creative during that time, right?
Yeah, it was fun.
It was excellent.
Yeah.
So let's kind of move into a couple more questions, which would be really about what's going on right now. What can, first of all, for current lacrosse players, how can they get involved in Fusion? For players maybe wanting to just check out the sport for the first time, what do you recommend to them? And just sort of what's upcoming here for the fall?
So we just had our fall evaluations about 2 weeks ago, which went excellent. We're really excited about what we have coming back, and we have a ton of new players playing with us, which is also exciting. So we are about to set our rosters for the fall club portion of our year. It's not too late. I would say like give Kristen maybe 48 or 72 hours notice and we can still get a few players in, but for right now we're pretty set with what we have for the fall. And then from there we have 2 opportunities this winter that are always really great opportunities for newer players. So if you're brand new to the sport, we have what we call Sticks and Speed, which is a very individualized group setting but individualized training where they can practice all kinds of skills, get in some footwork and some agility work. We love that program. That's actually my favorite of the whole year. Believe it or not, I just love watching them develop in a 6-week period. And then we have an indoor league, which is out in Greensboro, and we put together random teams and they just play. So we throw out a ball and we ref the game and they just scrimmage. And that's for newer players too, to get a handle on what the game looks like, and we coach them through it. So we talk through it. Lots of developments happen there too. So I would say within this year, those would be the 3 opportunities. The club team is pretty much set, but the other 2 are up and coming, and we'll be ready to roll with those pretty soon.
Awesome. And all the information will be on our website.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the last question before we go into some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
All right. So what are you most excited about the NC Fusion Lacrosse Girls Program, and how will you measure success?
Great question. So most excited about being in an area that I feel I really can have my hands in the development and the growth of it. So I like to set goals and see into the future, and then know that 5 years ago we were here and now we're here, and I love to see that growth. I'm most excited about bringing what I know and what I grew up around and having it in my backyard. I have a little girl, so I have a small motivation and obligation to give her the same opportunities I had. That's and right. I don't plan on moving back to Annapolis anytime soon, so we have to kind of create that here.
That's right.
So of course my family comes first, and I have to think about them first. Yeah. But I feel really passionate about growing things and building things, and so I've been able to do that with High Point, and I feel like this is a really good time in the lacrosse world to do it here at Fusion. Awesome. And then, I'm sorry, what's the other piece of
Just
that?
how would you measure success? You've talked about growth being one of those. Is there any other key indicators? I know you measure things and you watch how it goes, but is there any other impactful things that you would say, hey, that was success? Yeah.
I don't think it's black and white in my mind. Right now, it's about putting together rosters that are competitive. So we have to develop those players in order to have the competition that we want. But outside of that, I think I look back at programs or things that I've been a part of, and I look at the young women. And I don't have a huge alumni base here with Fusion. Right. So I don't know, it could be 5 or 6 years before we're really able to look at that and see how successful we've been. But I would assume that it will be, how many girls did we get to play in college? Did we get them addicted enough to want to play past club lacrosse or high school lacrosse, and really be passionate about playing it at the next level? Do we have any coaches that are now coaching lacrosse? Because that's what, that shows me that we've addicted them enough. Or are they giving back to the program? So have we done a good job in our community to make them feel driven enough to give back to something that gave a lot to them? The ways I've been able to measure this at High Point is through championships. And that's a very small piece of it. I have women that are working in New York City on Wall Street, and I see that as success. That's a powerful place to be. I see business owners and wives and mothers, and those are the things that I'm looking for, because at the end of the day, lacrosse is not the end all to anything. So just seeing how we can use this sport to better our community and better the women that are in the community, mostly.
It's awesome. Love that. Absolutely love it. And so in line with our mission as an organization, and using this as a platform to develop life lessons and become better humans. So it's awesome.
I agree.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions, rapid fire. So off the cuff, what is your favorite food?
I love Thai food.
Thai food, okay.
Yes.
Who is your favorite person on the Fusion staff?
Oh my gosh, I might get kicked right now if I say someone else. I'm going to go with Sarah.
All right, fair enough. I thought you were going to say me, though. But favorite place to visit?
Europe.
All right, that's a big place.
Yeah.
Place you'd like to visit?
Place I'd like to visit. I'm going to go with Australia.
Okay. Going with the continents today.
Yes.
Favorite band or musician?
Pat Green.
What's the most fun thing that your baby girl is doing right now?
Oh, she's trying to stand on her own. So she stands up, let's go, sits down, and stands up again, let's go, and sits down.
Fantastic.
It's like a reverse burpee, kind of.
Already training.
Yeah.
All right, hardest question here. What inspires you?
Young people. yeah, being around young people, good energy, good passion. Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today to chat. I'm so glad that our membership gets to know you better. I appreciate that you're leading our lacrosse program. You're obviously an incredible mentor and example for these ladies, for our staff members. I think it's so important that we have great female role models like you, and just appreciate the work you put in and the attention to detail and the passion that you bring. So I appreciate that as executive director of the club, and just have really enjoyed getting to know you better and having you on our team. So thank you
so much.
And thank you for taking the time today.
Yep.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
For more information, please visit our website, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to this podcast.